Welcome back to Cabin Maker. Today we follow Dave and Emily as they face the harsh reality of building an off-grid cabin in the Montana wilderness. Will they conquer the unforgiving elements to reach their dream of freedom? Let's find out right now. David operate a yellow JCB excavator to clear and excavate the dirt around the large log cabin's foundation. A red pickup truck is parked near the construction site to assist with hauling tools. David digs deep in the ground, creating a large trench along the side of the house, while operating a small bobcat skid to level and clear the foundation pit to prepare for reinforcement. The cabin is temporarily hoisted using structural steel beams resting on wooden cribbing blocks and 20-ton red Pittsburgh hydraulic jacks. A small Komatsu excavator continues leveling the basement dirt floor to clear space for the work. David used a drill driver to assemble the plastic foundation formwork directly on the ground. After bending and tying the vertical rebar and stirrups, wet concrete is poured directly from the mixer truck into the foundation forms under the crew's supervision. He fits each hollow ECF block tightly in the basement wall gap to serve as insulate perimeter walls. To keep the walls perfectly vertical during the concrete pour, David installs vertical wood bracing and adjustable steel turnbuckle outriggers. Wooden boards are screwed into the foam walls to prepare for installing the braces. Next, David fabricates and screws in the wooden bucket, where the basement ECF walls go away, with Emily help him align it from the scaffolding outside. Before pouring the new foundation, he thoroughly inspects the structural steel beam system supporting the cabin in the basement. David walks along temporary wooden planks laid across the foundation to check the clearance beneath the cabin walls. Two men work together to install the white ICF blocks on the foundation, preparing to pour the concrete walls. David uses a green spirit level to check the alignment of the anchor bolts on top of the concrete foundation, and drills pilot holes into the sill plate using a hand drill. Inside the TIM, he sets up a mechanical chain hoist system to move and support the heavy steel beams carrying the floor joists. A skid steer moves a long steel I-beam into foundation, guided directly by a crew member. David tightens the structural nuts and bolts on the steel beam. Outside, he kneels in the deep trench along the foundation's base, applying a gray waterproofing membrane tape and caulking the insulation joints with silicone sealant. David used a caulk gun to apply waterproof adhesive along the joints of the foundation foam boards, sticking a white protective membrane to the edge of the footing in the trench, and brushing on a specialized pink waterproofing sealant. An excavator dumps drainage gravel in the deep foundation trench along the pink insulated wall. Basement, the Komatsu excavator grades and levels the gravel and sends subgrade. David installed PVC drain pipes along with the drainage trenches. To create an insulated heated floor, he rolls out a green plastic vapor barrier over the gravel. David and Emily snap together the orange dimpled foam insulation panels. Kneeling on the floor, red PEX radiant heat tubing around the dimples, install pink foam expansion strips, and lays down wire mesh for reinforcement.
David and Emily pouring screed wet concrete, smoothing over the orange radiant floor mat.
David cleans away excess concrete around the drain opening. Then high-load bare-engineered wood-eye joists are installed parallel and spaced evenly to frame the floor. David notches the joist connections, use a hammer and a rough chisel. Green zip system subfloor panels are laid down to completely cover the floor joists. David fabricates the vertical wood framing using a circular saw, a hammer, and a pneumatic nail gun. He uses a crowbar to pry and adjust the wall plate flush with the foundation's edge. They use a tractor combined with blue heavy-duty rigging straps to hoist the massive wall section upright and screw it securely into place. Davis stands on a ladder to adjust and secure the top plate of the standing wall. The couple fastens the green zip system waterproof sheathing panels on the wall framing. A large dark brown I-beam is craned down and secured atop the supporting wall frame. David used a handheld oscillating multi-tool to make a precise rectangular cut in the plywood floor. The team works together to hoist the triangular gable wall with its large glass windows upright and stable. Using an orange snorkel material lift, David hoists the heavy wood ridge beam to the highest point. Next, he aligns the symmetrical sloping rafters on the roof truss. Saw to trim excess wood at the junction where it meets the old metal roof. Bevel cutting a wooden board on the subfloor. Sawdust flies continuously along the cut line. He secured laymen to the rafter frame and the raft frame using a pneumatic nail gun. Wearing a safety harness, David crawls along the steep roof to lay down the red waterproof membrane. Off. Down on the ground, a skid steer levels out the gravel on the hillside. To prevent landslides on the rocky slope, David positioned large precast concrete blocks around the foundation base to act as a retaining wall. He cuts through the concrete with a handheld saw and uses a sledgehammer to knock away the excess concrete. He runs a black corrugated drainage pipe behind the retaining wall to protect the foundation, then glues the PVC connections together in the footing trench. David uses a track loader and chains the concrete retaining blocks into place along the gravel trench. The skid steer back fills dirt behind the retaining wall to stabilize the ground. David builds wooden concrete forms around the entryway landing. Emily mixes fresh concrete, pouring it directly into the forms for a solid set of steps. On the side of the cabin, David frames the outer wall of the porch. Sheathing it with green zip system panels, use a pneumatic nail gun. Down in the basement, David prefabricates a wooden soffit ladder before carrying and screwing it securely to the roof overhang on the exterior wall. David used a miter saw to cut studs to finish framing out the soffit ladder. Standing on an out platform, he drills and screws the overhang framing in the gable wall. After sheathing the roof with plywood, they roll out the gray sharkskin underlayment across the entire roof deck. David places silver-reflective insulation boards over the purlins, sealing them with red tape.
Underlayment. Hold on.
Emily helps pass the dark metal roofing panels up to the roof. Under the glow of work lights, David stands on the roof to screw down the dark corrugated panels. Snow blanketed the desolate pine forest. Dave used a mini blowtorch to dry the tape seam and runs a flawless of silicone to seal out any freezing drafts. The sleek insulated black window frame is set perfectly in the green zip system wall. From inside the cabin, he peels away the protective film, revealing a cozy view of the majestic snow wilderness outside. Outside, David mounts brackets to the ceiling, joyous to secure the tracks, and adjusts the torsion spring system for the garage door.
gears and try to start getting these windows in.
This incredible cabin, the masterpiece of David and Emily, now stands tall, proud and cozy amidst the snow-blanket pine forests. From the very first grueling shovel of dirt to the final weather, sealing caulk, this magnificent two-story cabin is a brilliant symbol of love, impeccable craftsmanship, and the determination to conquer the wilderness.